So we're live. Okay, and it says we're live. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to show you guys some things that have been happening in the Chinese news, I guess, and some things that may or may not impact us. So first of all, I thought that the days of like our rice field rants were gone. Does anybody recall like back in like Palefish VIP kid days where every once in a while it was always a teacher that was like American, that was like living in Thailand or something or Vietnam, and they'd do a rant in a rice field in class. Does anybody remember that? Because this is giving me like the rice field vibes for this. This one teacher did something. It was recorded. It went viral, and it's going to potentially impact how our the future of ESL teaching. So I just want to, let's see here. What I do want to preface this by saying everything that I'm about to say does not reflect on the views of the company that is implicated in this. I also do not speak Chinese, so a lot of the things are translated to the best of my ability. I also would like to give a forewarning here that while I have attempted to edit things to the best of my ability, there is some vulgar language in this, and you will be subjected to this vulgar language in Chinese because I did not edit the Chinese version. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to show you what this teacher did. We'll talk about the implications that it had and how it's affecting teachers, and then I'll show you everything to you translated. Okay. So, all right. This is a clip from a teacher that was teaching with LingoStar. Just a little bit of a back information here. So backstory here. LingoStar is a company that works out of Taiwan. But they have an office in Beijing. A couple of years ago, China enacted this thing called the double reduction policy, which effectively shut all of these businesses down or forced them to operate out of Taiwan. And they still have a social media presence in Beijing. They still have headquarters in Beijing, but they are considered a Taiwanese company. In Taiwan, Taiwan is considered a part of China by mainland China. There's a huge debate there. I'll go into that later on, but they do have it's complicated. I don't know how to say this right now. Let's just watch this and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Hopefully this is going to share the audio to it. Bye. Oh, let me go back and play it again. Bye bye. Oh, did I share the wrong one? I think I shared the wrong one here. Okay, I think I shared the wrong one here. My bad. Okay, I'm sorry about that. All right, so I'm gonna show you this here. So here's my warning here. So this is basically what happened with this teacher. He came on and he said, Taiwan is an independent country. You know that, right? And he's like, yeah, I come from the UK. I'm from the UK. He goes on to say that he used to live in Taiwan. And he's like, and you know that it doesn't belong to China. It's a Chinese, it's not a Chinese company. It doesn't belong to China. Country, sorry. It is independent. They've got their own government. He then went on to say, China cannot be Taiwan cannot be a part of China. Mind you, he's saying all of this in Chinese. So this young student whose identity has been protected, is understanding everything that he's saying. In the student was like, wait a second, teacher. Like, it does belong to China because this is what they're taught, right? And I'm not going to get into the politics of it. There's a lot of politics that go behind this. I'll give you a brief overview of why this is such a strong political thing here. And he's like, no, he's arguing. The mom is in the back saying, stop this conversation now. It's not appropriate. You are indoctrinating our children by saying this kind of stuff, okay? This is bad enough to begin with. This teacher is putting political views on a child and completely ignoring the culture of the child that he is teaching, the family that he's teaching. The mother is in the back telling him to stop in Chinese, mind you, but the mother, the teacher speaks Chinese, so he understands everything that is being said. Let me see if I can. Okay, we're gonna share this over here too, so I can pull the actual video up here. He's like, Taiwan is Taiwan. F China. Bye-bye. Hangs up on the student. Oh, I thought I blurred that out. I'm sorry. So he actually gives the student the middle finger. I'm going to put my face over there so you don't have to look at that. Okay. He actually gives the student the middle finger, says in Chinese, F China. Bye-bye. Like, this is crazy. See if I can. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to actually pull this up here, and I'm going to show you the actual video here. Share screen, Home tab. Here we go. Make sure that I'm showing it. Wait. Here we go. Here's the actual video.
我从英国来的 yeah. But I live in Taiwan for a long time.
台湾属于中国。
你知道？
台湾就属于中国的。如果你要是这样，
台湾不是中国，台湾是台湾而已。台湾是台湾而已。中国，拜拜。
台湾属于中国。
Okay. That happened. A teacher and this child, it's like this post, by the way, this went viral. This got picked up by a Chinese blogger, whatever. It went viral on Chinese social media. Since then, the LingoStar app has been blocked in China. You cannot download the LingoStar app if you're in China. This means that new students are not going to be able to download the app. So the existing students that already have it on their devices, they can already get into classes, they can get into it. The student, yeah, I know. So I'm shocked. Wow, right? Okay. So the LingoStar app has been blocked, which means that new students cannot get classes, which means they will not be able to expand their business until this gets fixed. The only way that you can download the app now or get into LingoStar classes if you don't already have it on your phone or your device is to have a VPN, which really, I mean, we're kind of back to where we began. Now, Chinese netizens are demanding that there be stricter ramifications. Now, if you look this up on WeChat, excuse me, the comments on WeChat are very, very, very nasty. Basically calling for end of his days. Okay. If you look it up on Weibo or some of the other things, they're not as bad. If you look it up on WeChat, you're going to see it very, very, like, it's really, really nasty. Now, I want to show you really quick here. So this is the one China policy. I want to tell you this so that you can kind of understand why this is important. So there is something called the one China policy. It's a stance that there is one China. Taiwan is part of it. There was this big thing that happened back in the early 1900s where Taiwan and there was basically a civil war. Taiwan broke apart from China. China sees Taiwan as a breakaway province that still belongs to China. So if you are saying you are getting into a very politically charged, heated debate with a child who, let's not do this. Okay. First, China says we will reunify with Taiwan. Sooner or later, whether it's by force if we have to, it's going to happen. We hope it happens peacefully, but it's going to happen whether or not it does. Now, both China and Taiwan both agree that there is one China. They're just kind of debating on who is the real China, Taiwan versus China. So you can see this is a really, really, really big heated political debate here that you should not be getting into a child. And when I first, Katie actually sent this to me. So Katie is chatting in the comments. You probably see her. She sent me a news article on this like yesterday, and I looked at it today. And then I did my own research on it and kind of went down the rabbit hole. There's not a lot of things in our publicized media. There's nothing for us, but if you look in Chinese social media, you will see a lot of this stuff, and you will see the comments. Now, there's so I went down the rabbit hole of looking it up and everything. When she first told me about this, I read the article, and I was like, oh, well, maybe he didn't know. Maybe it was totally innocent. I didn't see the video yet, and I thought maybe it was totally innocent. Maybe he didn't know anything that was going on. Maybe he was just like, no, like geography. There's Taiwan, there's China, and I thought maybe give him the benefit of the doubt, right? Unfortunately, that can't be the case because, first of all, he lived in Taiwan. So he's very much aware of everything. Second of all, you don't flip a child off, okay? So I wasn't originally going to come down and drag this teacher, but I mean, let's be real, okay? It's worth dragging. You did this to a child. So the LingoStar app has been blocked. Chinese netizens are demanding stricter rules for teachers that are abroad. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's really going to depend on how loud Chinese netizens are. It's going to depend on how much they are demanding from the government, because the government is going to listen. They want to have control over the situation. They do not want their children being indoctrinated by Western culture. And especially with something like this that is very, very, very politically charged, they do not want their children, just as we would not want our children being indoctrinated by another culture that we don't get along with. They do not want their children to be subjected to that. So if there is enough complaints from people online, there's a very strong chance they have already blocked LingoStar. So I'm going to take a look at the comments here. Not only was this totally inappropriate for him to bring up in front of a literal child, seriously, don't talk politics with kids, but it's concerning the potential wider impact too. Yes. Completely agree. I don't know why. And I guess this was a brand new teacher with LingoStar. He was in his probationary thing. If you log on to LingoStar, and actually, maybe I can show you here. If you log on to LingoStar, you're going to have a thing pop up. Maybe it's not going to pop up for me now. Let me see here. You're going to have a thing pop up. Okay, maybe it's not going to pop up for me right now because I've already been in there and seen it a couple of times. But if you log into LingoStar, if you have not seen it already, there's going to be a thing pop up that says, do not talk about politics. This is the reason why, because this happened. Regardless of whether or not we as teachers agree with Chinese politics, it's still important to be professional and avoid such conversations with students. Yeah, it's not our job to change their culture. That's not what we're hired for. You're not going in there for that. If you don't agree with it, don't teach in China, point blank. If you have a problem with Chinese people, do not teach Chinese people. What is wrong with people? And clearly, he had a problem. This teacher had a problem with Chinese students. You don't belong in that place. If you do not like the Chinese culture, if you don't like the way things are run, if you have a personal conflict of interest between, maybe you lived in Taiwan and you're involved in all of it in some way, you don't belong in the classroom with those kids. Actually, point blank, you don't belong in a classroom with any kids if you're flipping them off. The child looked young too, not sure what sparked him to debate this. I don't know. I don't have the whole class recording. There's more to this too, but um uh the child online, it said the child was a couple years old. This was a level 4 unit 1 in LingoStar. So if you're familiar with LingoStar material, this is a not beginner. He knows some English, but not a ton. The child to me looked about like 7 years old, if I had to guess. Yeah, Katie said about 6 years old. Yeah, like he was really young. The mom was right there for the whole class. She's yelling at him, stop, don't have this conversation, knock it off. Like she knew it was bad. And he ignored it. And he was speaking Chinese to the student too. Like he was fully aware of Chinese culture and everything. He knew better. Definitely not old enough to have any real understanding of politics himself, just what he's heard from school, parents, and government. Old enough to understand the aggressive tone and gestures. Yeah, and especially he swore at the Chinese student in Chinese. You saw the video. He did not say F China in English. He said it in Chinese and then showed the finger. I guess LingoStar won't continue hiring new tutors for a while. LingoStar says teachers will get dropped for talking politics, among a few other things. Yes. So LingoStar has had this notification come out. I think Katie sent me a screenshot of it. I don't have it on my app right now. And again, from what I have seen from LingoStar, I think they're a fantastic company, and I hope this does not happen. You guys saw I just had a sponsored video with LingoStar last week. And I don't work I don't work alongside companies unless I think that there's something good about them. LingoStar is affiliated with another company that I have had that I've been affiliated with before. Just kind of they're not the same company, but they're affiliated with them. This other company is fantastic as well. I don't want to see this happen to LingoStar. I'm gonna see. Let me see if I've got this screenshot from Katie here. Because I was like, yeah, I've had that for a while. It says, at LingoStar, we are committed to creating a learning environment that fosters equality and mutual respect among teachers and students. Since many of our students are from China, it is essential to be mindful of and sensitive to diverse cultural backgrounds. Teachers should ensure that their discussions remain focused on lesson content and avoid unrelated topics, including sensitive matters such as religion, politics, for example, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Macau, Tibet, Xinjiang, racial discrimination, sex, or violence. Discussing these topics is not permitted, and doing so could result in the termination of the contract. We encourage all teachers to work with LingoStar in building a harmonious teaching atmosphere. Together, we can create a platform where teachers and students flourish, inspiring a bright future for everyone. So that is, if you go and log into LingoStar, if you haven't seen that message already, you will see it in the future. And that is why, and for a while, like every time I logged in to see if I had bookings, I would go in there and it would pop up, and I'd go to another page and it would pop up. Like they were plastering it right in my face every chance I could get. I didn't know that there was a reason why. But yeah, that's the reason. As far as hiring new teachers, they have not put a hiring ban on anybody. Their existing students can still get into the app. It's not gonna, like, China doesn't have a firewall on it their firewall is not blocking LingoStar. The app has been banned from the app stores. But if they already have the app downloaded, they're still going to have access to the app. So all existing students can still teach. This teacher was immediately fired. As soon as this went out, the teacher was immediately fired. And he no longer has a job working with LingoStar. Hopefully will never work for another company again. There's some crazy people out there. I suspect this guy isn't really a teacher, just some randomer with an agenda. No teacher would treat a child like this. I don't know. I disagree. I've definitely seen some online teachers that should not be teaching online, to be completely honest. So I didn't put these on here, but I want to go through really quick and just kind of like read some of the things that happened here. When a child learns one-to-one with a foreign teacher, this is all translated, by the way. I don't speak Chinese. This is translated using the WeChat translate feature. The foreign teacher claimed that Taiwan does not belong to China, and the vertical middle finger withdrew from the live broadcast after being corrected by the parents. Okay, so he gave the middle finger after he said the politically charged things, flipped the student off, and then said bye and left the class. On the 20th, the China Private Education Association reported that after verification with the authority, the subject involved is an unqualified institution. The relevant app has been removed, and the relevant violations will be further investigated and handled. This incident occurred as the result of the indiscriminate and arbitrary behavior of a personal foreign teacher, but it is reflected beyond the laissez-faire and the inaction of the platform, especially in its domestic authorized company, in the hiring and management of foreign teachers whose actions are clearly contrary to China's foreign teaching hire regulations. This was, I don't know if I'm going to say this correctly. If you look it up, the blogger that blogged about this on Weibo originally, her name is Tiaojun, Tiaojun. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. She said the original public video was not successfully reviewed. It cannot be uploaded. If you want to see it, you can go to my Weibo and search for the keywords United Kingdom teacher. So if you want to say that, if you want to see this original video, I already showed it to you, but if you want to see it and see the comments, if you go into Weibo, you can look up United Kingdom teacher lingo start, and it's going to pull up all of this. It's going to pull up all the threads. It's going to pull up all the people that are saying, get rid of the Chinese education by foreigners. Like, if you look it up on WeChat, it's calling for execution of this teacher. So WeChat's a little harsher than Weibo. I don't know why, but it is. This is, sad and completely, why can't I share this? Sad and completely uncalled for. I hate that student has those memories from an online class. Yeah, it's completely uncalled for. You like, why would you do that with a child? Why? This teacher should never, ever be working again. I'm sure he's going to be blacklisted from all of the Chinese companies anyways. If you're watching this, if you are teacher, what's your name? Is it teacher Paul? What's your name? Teacher. Hold on, I've got it somewhere here. If you are watching this, and you want to speak up for yourself, by all means, say something. And I would love to hear your side of the story, because I don't think that there's anything that you can say. His name was like teacher Paul UK or something. Hold on. I looked it up on YouTube to see if I could find him, but I couldn't. Hold on. But basically, I know I looked it up. Can't find it now. What is this going to have for us? Well, first of all, I think it's really important to realize that your actions can have a larger scale impact. One teacher had a class with one student. A viral post went through with this class recording and has gotten this app for this company shut down because of one teacher's irresponsible actions. You need to be very, very careful when you're teaching online, because your actions can have serious consequences. This is 2024. Everything's out there. Be really careful what you're saying. If you don't need to be teaching students, then don't teach students. Don't teach online if you cannot maintain your behavior and have a good behavior. Don't do it. Okay? Be professional or don't teach, first of all. Second of all, depending on how loud Chinese netizens are about this, and I wouldn't talk, please don't talk to any of your Chinese students or parents about this, please. We don't need it to go louder and have people talking about it more than they already are. I'm not saying that it should be a cover-up thing, but the more fired up that parents are about this, that the community is about this, the louder they're going to scream for changes, and the more likely, that we could potentially have a double reduction 2.0. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but just keep in mind, okay? It could possibly happen because people are already asking for that. It could also be the government does nothing. The government might not do anything because it's just one instance, and they might just realize, okay, it's one instance. We talked to LingoStar about it. They fixed it. Let's move on from this. Okay. Or they could realize, like Katie was saying earlier to me, when they enacted the double reduction policy, one of the things that they did not realize was a potential side effect is their lack of control. So now that they do not have like ownership of the companies, like they're not Chinese companies anymore, they're in different countries, and they don't have control over it. They don't have control over the classes. They don't have control over what's allowed and what's not allowed. So back in 2018, January of 2019, the Chinese government said, the Chinese Ministry of Education said, in order to be working for one of these companies and teaching children, you need to, and by the way, I'm doing this from memory, so I might have the dates wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's when it was. You need to have a 120-hour certification. That's where TESOL courses came into effect. Everybody went out and, grabbed your $20 TESOL so you could say you were certified. They put that into effect. Then more things happened, and they put the double reduction into effect, which basically essentially eliminated a lot of these companies. And so they could say, okay, let's take a step back. Let's allow these companies, but we're going to have more control over them. They could put a ban on all of them. They could take it the next step further. Katie says, this is my big worry. I hope we're overstating this concern right now, but it is a risk, particularly if this situation goes viral or happens again. So now the thing that you have to worry about is if this happens again, people like to share things that are going to go viral, right? Something like this happens again, somebody grabs it, they already saw this go viral, they're going to make the next one go viral. They're going to be looking for things like this to share so that they can do like exposés and whatnot. It's going to happen. The more we give them, okay, and I'm saying we collectively, I know you guys, I'm hoping that none of my followers here are going to be that kind of person that gives them ammunition against us, because you guys are all going to be good teachers and not say this stuff in class. But it's I work for Lingo Ace and often have staff in the lessons watching. Probably a good solution to stop things from progressing like this in this situation. The only thing is that you cannot monitor every single lesson to that extent for something to happen. And I've seen things like this happen before. Back in the days of Palefish in the rice fields. I don't know why the Vietnam rice fields were a thing, like why they were so like politically charged and people went crazy in the rice fields. But I've seen things like that happen. There was another teacher back then that was he went viral. Oh my goodness, who was here that knows the guy with the puppets in his intro video was like wild. He was like, I think he was Palefish too. There's a lot of like wild things that have happened. China no longer has any way of regulating these companies, as they're all non-Chinese now. They can't implement nice regulations like training. All they can do is block. I think more likely the governments will block more foreign tutoring websites or restrict social media marketing further. I think that LingoStar has done what they needed to. LingoStar, in my opinion, LingoStar is not in any fault. Okay. They don't have any fault in this. They probably hired a teacher that has experience, like most likely. He's probably worked for other companies. He probably has experience. He passed their interview. He had his certifications and his degree that he needed. They don't do a background check. So there is that. So that is something that they could improve on. But they didn't go out and like say like, oh, we're just going to hire people off the streets to do this. They were looking for people that were good candidates. And even if somebody did pass a background check, that's not to say that he doesn't have a political agenda and will say something stupid. We see teachers from brick and mortar schools in our own country every day that are doing things that are not appropriate. So it's not to say that this is like an online teaching issue or a LingoStar issue. This is a people issue. And this just so happened to be a person that was in a position with a child that should not have been in a position with a child. I don't know what's going to happen. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? What do you predict will happen? To me, a post like this going viral is a really big thing. And it's not one person posting it. Actually, it went so viral. Somebody contacted the original poster, this Xiaojun, I can't speak Chinese. Somebody contacted this original blogger and said, hey, I'm this child's aunt. Please remove this from the internet. And she said, no, that's not happening. I'm not removing this. Plus, you can't prove to me that you don't work for LingoStar, because you could very well work for LingoStar and just be trying to avoid bad publicity. So they have asked for it to be removed. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure the mom was the one that somehow got it to the blog. I don't know how the blogger got it in the first place. I'm assuming the mom must have shared it and it got sent to the blogger, or she sent it to the blogger. I'm not really sure. For companies to self-regulate, watching every class is impossible. Perhaps they will be more selective in who they hire or implement more training for teachers, but I doubt it. Okay, you missed it. A teacher went nuts. A teacher said some really inappropriate things, flipped a child off, and went viral in China. LingoStar has been banned. The LingoStar app you can't download in China anymore. And people are calling, Chinese netizens are calling for stricter regulations. If you want to, like, when we get off this live, go back and you can watch the beginning of it, and you'll see the actual video. I'm not going to play it again because it swears, and we don't need to see that anymore. But it's just the comments, the comments that you're getting from people. This online institution should be penalized. How to check the foreign teachers. Such things must be firmly banned. China must grow to improve relevant legislation in the government and legal levels, set up professional departments, truly invest huge human and material resources for a long time, and accurately crack down and eliminate all kinds of anti-China criminals who seriously infringe on the legitimate rights and interests of normal Chinese people. Only by making these extremely barbaric, evil, foolish, dangerous, and shameful people pay an unbearable and painful price can no longer become more desperate and do nothing evil. So that's how they're looking at this teacher right now. Extremely barbaric, evil, foolish, dangerous, shameless. It has long been said that the foreign teacher industry's chain should be eradicated. Wandering soul catcher. Oh, they're tagging somebody. This foreign miscellaneous should be blacklisted as an online foreign teacher. I mean, people are really freaking out about it. And I mean, that's a cause for concern. The things that you do have the potential to end up online. They have the potential to cause issues with another country. I think what Chinese parents want are more Chinese ESL teachers or teachers teaching from within China who have gone through the strict hiring visa policies and are easy for the police to control. Oh, I don't think most parents want that. So this goes down to like knowing your student, knowing your niche, right? In my niche, they do not like, my Chinese students do not like having a Chinese English teacher. The reason isn't anything against a Chinese English teacher, but it's because Chinese English teachers in the educational systems in China typically speak what we call, or what they call, Chinglish. It's very broken English. It's not fluent. It's not at a fluent level. They're enrolling students into these online lessons because now they have an opportunity for their child to learn better than their peers and be able to do better on their speaking exams and their speaking competitions, get into better schools and colleges because they actually learned from somebody from the actual country. I remember I had a student, maybe like 9 years old, I think about 9 years old, from China. He came to me. He's doing really, really well in his lessons. And he says to me, we were talking about Harry Potter. And he says, oh, something, Harry Potter. He says it in like a England, Britain accent. And I'm like, okay, where was your last teacher from? Where was she from? She was from England, wasn't she? Sure was. I could pick it up in his accent. That's the benefit, one of the benefits there. Katie said the Chinese English teachers I met in China spoke way better English than many of the foreign teachers, plus had proper teaching qualifications and knew the local exam systems. So I have not lived in China. I have met Chinese English teachers, and their English was not great, better than my Chinese could ever be, but not like at a natural level of English. If they came to America, they would have a hard time being understood by a lot of people. I've had students come to me and tell me things about like something that their teacher was teaching them that was very, very, very incorrect. I can't remember any examples right now, but I guess I don't really want to get into them anyways. But things that were very incorrect in the English language. But they don't want that. They want the fluent. They want their kids to get fluent. There are other reasons parents like foreign teachers for online classes. Yeah. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Wrong one. Wrong button. Sorry, I got a Christmas tree over here. I just have a virtual background that I just threw up really quick. I didn't realize that it was Christmas in it. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think is going to happen? I think that it's really important. Obviously, don't talk about this with your students, but I do think that it's very, very, very important to recognize and understand that what you do in class, you're not in a box. Like, you're not in this little box on your computer where you will never be seen again. There is always potential that your lessons can be recorded and shared. There's always potential that if you start drama, it's going to come back and bite you. And yeah, I'm 2 weeks into my independent teaching business. Yay! Congratulations. And my niche is English for young learners who may be going abroad and want to make friends easier by culture and conversation basis. I think maybe focusing on culture-based lessons may be a bad idea now with this news. Thoughts? Okay. So, no, I don't think so. So it really depends on how you're bringing it about. If you say something, if you're having a conversation with your Chinese student, I've talked in my private lessons, okay, not with companies. In my private lessons, I have talked about politics. I have talked about religion. These are generally things that you don't want to talk about. The difference being talking about religion and saying, this is what these people believe, or talking about culture and saying, this is what happens over here, is completely different than saying, there is a God. What do you mean there's not a God? Like, we know there is, I have proof. Or we know there isn't, I have proof. That's kind of what the difference is. I've enjoyed getting to know some of my students. I have students in China who are Christian and they go to the only Christian church that's around them. I have students in China that are Buddhist, and I love hearing them tell me about like their temples and what happens when they go to temple. And usually the kids hate going to temple because it's, just being dragged to church. I love hearing about the way culture works. Even during COVID, COVID was a very politically charged time to be teaching online. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that word on YouTube anymore. Bleep. The C word was a very politically charged time to be teaching online, because we had a lot of things was with our leader in America, who was saying things online, saying things in political statements that was getting over to our Chinese friends. And then they thought, well, America hates us. Like, it was a very, 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 very hard time to be walking into this online teaching thing and have to say, like, no, we love you. Don't listen to that. Don't listen to the news. Okay. We love you. But there's always it's more about, if you're going to be doing things independently, just make sure that, here, Katie said it better. I think ultimately the key message is to be professional. Don't discuss politics with students, and focus on teaching, not spreading some political agenda. Culture isn't politics. Yeah. And if you're talking about, I mean, I've talked about this, not with little kids that are students. Okay. I've never talked like religion or politics with little kids. I've done it with adult students. And I'm not saying, like, you really need to know the line that you can walk when you're doing this. You're not disagreeing with them. You're not telling them that they're wrong. You're not telling them that their country's wrong. You got to be really, really careful. Can't watch with sound, but I recently started with a Chinese company and they told me no politics. They love their country and their leader. I said it's weird to speak with a child about it. Yeah, it is weird to speak with a child about it. You should not be having like conversations with a child about politics. Let them be kids. Yeah, even in the UK, teachers aren't allowed to share directly their political opinions or religious beliefs. Yeah, it's one thing to talk about politics. If you're having a political conversation, to talk about politics, this is what's happening. Let's discuss. It's another thing to say, this is what's happening and why it's bad. But then again, if you're teaching students in China or the UAE or places where there is a high censorship going on, you need to be really careful what you're saying, because there's censorship for a reason. This is not like teaching in America, where, I mean, even Canada is starting to have censorship, actually. I don't know if you guys know this, but in Canada, you're no longer allowed to find things on Facebook, like news articles on Facebook won't open. They're blocked. You can't see them. You need to be fully aware of what you're saying to your students and, the ramifications that they can have. And even if the speaking political was an honest to God mistake and he like didn't know and was just trying to teach geography to the child and didn't know about the wars that they've had and didn't know that it was a politically charged statement, he knew that by sticking up this finger and saying F China in Chinese to a Chinese student, a Chinese child, was wrong. So that's kind of where we're at here. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to scare you guys. I don't want to be like fear mongering or anything, but just really important to understand something could happen. What should you do now? Well, first of all, teach all of your lessons as professionally as you possibly can. You're not doing the stuff that teacher, I forgot his name, teacher Paul, teacher whatever, UK. You're not doing anything that teacher did. Okay? First of all. Second of all, don't talk about this stuff with your students. Don't spread this. Don't, if they don't know about it, they don't need to know about it. It doesn't need to be in their media any more than it is. I think LingoStar is kind of like trying to let it go. Recently on their WeChat page, they have posted instructions on how to log into their classroom, and they've posted why you should be taking classes, and they kind of haven't been addressing this and getting into this. They're dealing with it with the government. Third of all, recognize that the things that you say can come back to you, and they can harm more than just yourself. Your political opinion is not right, okay? My political opinion is not right. Your political opinion is not right. What it is an opinion. There is no right and wrong in politics. It's an opinion. It can be right for some and wrong for another. So don't go into something thinking that you have to spread, you're not spreading the gospel here, okay? Unless you are teaching a religious lesson and you are a religious teacher, you are not spreading the gospel. And fourth, this goes back to something we've talked about many, many times. Diversify your online teaching income. So if you're working for a company, start your independent business along on the side. Work for another company. Don't put all your eggs in one basket if your one basket is with a company. Oh, excuse me. I'm not really tired. I just yawn sometimes for fun. And that's iced tea. Just kidding. But this would be a good time to realize that things may happen. I'm not saying they will, but it does kind of scare me a little bit because the government has already blocked the app. They were very quick to block the app. They have already had issues with us as teachers. And if something like this goes viral again, they will be forced to do it. So if Katie goes into an online class and starts talking about God and how God is awesome and God is great, and that goes viral, like somebody records that and it goes viral, even if she had no ill intentions and she was just talking about, oh yeah, I love God, I love Jesus, it's great, okay, that clip goes viral, boom, how many strikes before you're out, right? And yeah, so one thing that I can say for certain is that this online teacher, this viral incident did change something. We just don't know exactly what it changed yet. This incident was pretty bad. Hate to be the teacher that was in charge of those changes. Hate to be the teacher responsible for that. But then again, you don't go flipping off children in a class. So I'm going to wrap this up. My kids are going to be getting off the bus here. Thank you, Jillian and Katie. I was immediately scared to mention learning cultures in class professionally. Of course, you can do it. You just got to be careful how you do it. Like I can have a lesson that talks about religion without telling them, like, I don't say like, oh, this is what God does. I'd say these people believe that, it's use common sense. And if you're working for a company, obviously follow their rules. If you're independent, you're going to make your own up, but you're going to use common sense to do the right thing. Yeah. So let me know in the comments, what do you think is going to happen? If anybody wants the direct link to any of the videos or anything like that, I can send that to you. It's on Weibo, but I'd prefer it doesn't get like a ton of views actually. So maybe I won't. We don't want it to go more viral. And I guess we don't need teachers. We don't need teachers commenting on it because that's going to give it more attention. But what do you want? Are you just going to run back and forth? Did I lock you in the basement? Is the door closed? But I will see you guys later. If you want to, I didn't put it up here, but for those watching the replay, I'll put up this last video where I put up how to teach adults, I think was my last video. So if you want to check that out, then you can check that out. And I will see you guys in my next video. Oh, one more thing. Hold on. I haven't really talked about this. And I haven't really done a lot on it yet. I just have one video up. Well, let me see if I can find it here. Before I go, if you're still here, if you are going independent, you need to be building your social media presence. It's just something that you have to do in order to go independent as an online teacher. Oh, where did you go? Hold on. I'm looking for my video. Okay. If you're going independent, it's something that you have to do is build your online presence and grow your social media, learn marketing techniques. In the past, things that I have done I have done these things on this channel, but I recognize that the majority of people on this channel aren't really interested in that. You want jobs and teaching tips and stuff. So I've kind of split them. If you are looking to build your own online teaching business using social media like YouTube, etc., YouTube, Facebook, anything like that, then I want you to follow me over on my other channel. If you search for social media with Jillian Shanahan, you'll find me. This is my other YouTube channel that I'm starting. I haven't done too much on it. I've only put one video on it. I have more videos coming out, but that is for people that are looking to grow their social media. I will not be talking about it on this channel anymore. This channel is going to be strictly dedicated to teaching techniques, practices, curriculum, companies, hiring applications, stuff for online teachers. The other channel will be more social media growth. So I just wanted to let you know about that. All right, I'm going to see you guys later. My kids are getting off the bus soon. Let me know in the comments and what you think is going to happen. And if you missed it when I click end, go back and watch the beginning of this and you can see the actual video that I'm talking